down.
What's up guys, your boy CJ here, back with another video. Welcome back to Camera Basics. Today we're going to be talking about the type of modes. Now, if you guys don't know, there are hundreds of modes that are actually located right on top here of your dial under your camera. Anyway, so sorry, there was noise there. Anyway, so today I was planning to do a little bit of elaborate and bunch of like transition, B-rolls and stuff, but I realized it's getting a little bit boring and it's definitely not my style and not how I conduct my videos. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, I'm not gonna waste time. This video is gonna be really long if I'm gonna drag this out. I can drag it out if I want to, but I don't like to, so I'm gonna get it done and over with. So first things first, all the way to the left of your dial right here, you're gonna have the manual mode. Now, what does manual mode do? Basically, the simplest idea of it is basically you control everything from the aperture, the ISO, the shutter speed, the white balance, basically everything. You control yourself. The camera does not do anything, well, other than take pictures. So yeah. Anyway, next we have the aperture priority mode, or in this case on my camera it's indicated by AV. In other cameras I've noticed it's indicated by A alone, and that depends on which manufacturer camera. I particularly prefer a Canon. That's my personal preferences. Of course, this is definitely different. Anyway, so what is aperture priority mode? As the word says, aperture priority, meaning you only adjust your aperture. And if you do not know what aperture is, go check it out in my playlist in my channel. I already posted a video that is about aperture itself. So yeah, anyway. The camera does adjust the shutter speed for you automatically as you adjust the aperture themselves. I find this very useful as a wedding photographer because most of the time I don't have time to adjust everything fully manual. So I lock my lower shutter speed at 125 and I adjust the aperture themselves, and the camera just adjusts it for me to adjust the lighting. However, even so, in most of these modes you have to adjust ISO by itself because ISO is a bit sensitive and camera doesn't really, you know, can't process that much. It's not fully, excuse me. Hey, so yeah, that's the aperture priority mode. Next, we have the shutter priority mode. Like the name says, shutter priority, you adjust the shutter speed. If you don't know what shutter speed is, do check out my channel. I did another camera basic video about the shutter speed themselves. So yeah, see, I do quite some things for you guys before I actually started on this video. That's one of the reasons why this video is kind of put behind, because you need to know those three things before you can mess around with these modes. And that's in my opinion anyway. So yeah, that's the shutter priority mode. However, the camera will adjust aperture for you, whereas you have to adjust the shutter speed and the ISO. Again, the ISO, adjust yourself. Most of the time, the ISO, I just put it around 400 depending on what situation I'm shooting in. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next, you're gonna have P. P is actually a little bit different because P for me is program. I don't mess with it so much. You can preset what shutter speed, ISO, or whatsoever you're gonna use it. It's basically a program. Programming camera adjusts everything else, whereas you just adjust the white balance, the ISO, and the flash. So that's why I have no shit. I keep forgetting these things. So yeah, do forgive me. Anyway, so yeah, there's that P. Anyway, next we're gonna go into the green, little greenie. It's called Scene Auto Intelligence. It's basically if you have a DSLR and you use that, throw your DSLR away and go use a phone. Sorry, this is really my opinion. I do not like. I used to do that a lot, whereas I use auto and just shoot, and I've realized that I'm not using it. I paid 2,000 ringgit for this camera and I'm using auto. It's stupid. Honestly, I do feel it that way. If you guys feel otherwise, I'm sorry, but that's just why I feel like after doing so long. If you buy a DSLR, make sure to use it to the fullest capacity, otherwise you're wasting your money, trust me. Anyway, Scene Auto Intelligence, everything is set for you, just click and shoot. I don't recommend you doing that, not at all, don't do that. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, next we're gonna have no flash, which is indicated by the little cross of a lightning bolt. That's basically the lightning bolt is mostly used for a flash, meaning as for the cross meaning no flash. This is useful for those of you that has not mastered and you want to shoot, but you don't want to have flash on it, but you want everything on auto. So that's the basic meaning. It's Scene Auto Intelligence without flash. That's what I call it anyway. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. Nothing much to talk about. Alright, next we're gonna have CA in mind. It's basically Creative Auto, which is you adjust for how much background blur and a little bit of things in here and there. I don't particularly know much about this. I don't like it at all because auto stuff, if you buy DSLR, don't go for auto. It's not worth the money for buying a DSLR. So that's my opinion on it. So yeah, nothing much to talk about. It's just Creative Auto. It's auto, but you can adjust a little bit here and there for back depending on what you want to do with it. So yeah, that's Creative Auto. Next, we have Portrait Mode. So Portrait Mode is basically, like it says, Portrait Mode, whereby you take pictures of someone's head or some object in between. That's Portrait Mode. It creates the best depth of depth of field, blur out the background, basically enlarging your aperture to the max. Again, if you watch my aperture video, you will know how to do this by now, which is this thing is basically very redundant, unless you are very lazy and you just want everything to be auto. So yeah, that's the portrait mode for you. So next we have landscape mode. So basically landscape mode is basically used for everything. You want everything in sharp. It will basically close down your aperture, making it the smallest aperture, meaning the biggest f number, making everything sharp. So that's basically the f. Nothing much to talk about. That's landscape mode. Nothing too special, also nothing too bad about it. It depends on how you use it, and yeah, it's an auto mode but for landscape. So that's the general idea of it. Next we have macro mode. Macro mode is I would say this feature is a bit not that useful because if you don't have a macro lens, it's basically the same as portrait mode, meaning it blurs out everything in the background and it focuses on that one tiny little object. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend using this unless you have a macro lens. So yeah. Next we have sports mode. Sports mode is basically when you're going to capture sports, everything's running fast and one has fast pace. So the camera automatically sets the shutter speed to high enough and balance the lighting, everything else. Just nice for you to capture itself. It's auto but for sports. Basically what it does, increase the shutter speed to high enough to capture everything just nicely. So yeah. Again, these are auto from ever since I've started talking about seeing auto intelligence. It's basically a bunch of auto but for specific type of stuff. So yeah. Alright, next we're gonna have night portrait mode. Night portrait mode is basically what it does is basically brighten out everything, lowering the shutter speed or lowering the aperture down or increasing the ISO all the way up, just so that you can capture people in the dark. I do not recommend this mode enough. I do not recommend this because it will set your picture to become very grainy and very loud noise. It's not flaring at all. Don't do it unless you have no choice. So yeah. Alright, next we have handheld night scenes. Now what does handheld night scenes do? Handheld night scenes basically meaning if you want to capture something in the night, basically landscape at night, it will capture 4 consecutive pictures to make sure everything is in focus, everything is just nice for you to use. So yeah, again, I don't recommend this because it's very irregular. The camera can only do so much for you and it's very irregular. It works sometimes it doesn't work for me. So it depends on each individuals. So yeah. Alright, last but not least is HDR backlight control. I don't really like this thing because it's just weird. It takes 3 pictures and combining them, making it just nice, just a well-rounded picture. Honestly, I don't recommend using this at all because it just becomes very weird in the end. So yeah, if you cannot avoid this at all costs. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically it for this episode. I'm making it as fast as I can, explaining it as simple as I can, just for people to understand. I know it's not it's a little bit technical at the same time, not that technical. I mean, it's really not there. I don't think I will be making any in-depth videos onto these. I will see how I think about it, and if you guys really interested in it, do drop it down in the comment. I will definitely make a camera basic for every single one of these functions, of course. But if you don't know, if you already want to learn it to master your DSLR full to the maximum potential, I will always recommend to play around with manual settings. And if you can actually, mess around manual setting, understanding the basic functions, I'm sure you'll be just fine using the camera camera. So yeah, it's your boy CJ. If you guys like this video, do like and subscribe, hit the notification bell button, share with your friends, comment down below for any questions or any videos you want to recommend. And yeah, that's about it. It's your boy CJ, and I'll see you guys next video. Out.